This is TWiT. Do you want to try this? Understanding that at any point we can edit it out?
Of course. You're talking about the audience thing.
The audience thing. Let me...
yeah, why not?
Let's try it. Let's try it.
Let's give it a shot.
Look, not to put any pressure on anyone, but if this first question is nonsense, you've destroyed it for everybody.
So the way we're going to do this, I guess I could if I wanted to mute and unmute people. I don't want to do that. So a couple of people have unmuted their microphones.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Carlos.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, I'm fine. I can hear you.
Okay.
I can talk.
Talk. Speak. You could even turn on video if you really wanted to.
Do you have a story, an anecdote, a poem?
A poem, something you want to say. Go ahead.
I got nothing to say. I'm not a big Windows user. So
thank you very much. No, I appreciate you
listening to
you
us.
being a guinea pig. Do you listen to the show, Carlos?
Not really, actually. Okay, my only 2 cents is OG Xbox Live user. I actually paid for it for 16 years. Only decided to quit in 2020. I'm just done with that platform.
Wow.
What do you do now?
I work.
Oh, you don't play games at all.
I work. There you go.
No more games for Carlos.
Yeah.
I have a PlayStation and an Xbox collecting dust while I just watch Netflix. And
I think that's
wait for
something
my
that happens
vaccine.
with age, except for Paul.
It's definitely an age thing.
Yeah, people grow out of it. Yeah.
No, I can see the end. I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you just, life kind of becomes more important.
I'm also a new homeowner, so all my spare time is just
hammering nails.
DIY.
Yeah.
Or you'll spare time and you spare money.
Thank you, Carlos. I'm going to mute you and let somebody else go ahead and just unmute your mic, and you will be on with Paul Thurrott, Mary Jo Foley. Hello.
Oh, excuse me. This is Deal John.
Hey, what did you want to speak to Paul and Mary Jo, or did you just?
I did have a question about the Visual Studio for Mac going native. Do we think that's necessary for supporting Project Maui?
Oh, that's an informed
Since it's
question.
informs evolution.
Yeah.
I don't know if
could
it's
be,
required, but yeah, that maybe sure, because that's the one of the targets, right? So Project Maui is going to be mobile like today, but also Windows and Mac.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That was a good question. An informed
Also,
question.
excellent radio voice, by the way.
Yeah. You'll see that
No, you're more kind.
different people have different microphones and different qualities. So who else wants to ask? That was a great question. Thank you. Who else wants to ask something? And you can, if you want, just talk like that. It's okay.
Oh, that was awesome. Are you kidding me?
Question.
Go ahead.
What is Project Maui?
That's a good point. Mary Jo knows all about that.
Multi-platform. .NET multi-platform. Based on Xamarin Forms, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, next generation Xamarin.
Forms.
Yep.
Actually, our sponsor Bitwarden is written in C# and .NET. It's open source, but it's a .NET project.
So Xamarin today is a little bit of a mess. I mean, the hope here is that they clean it up, and of course, they're, like we just said, they're expanding the reach from just mobile to mobile and desktop. Kind of a Flutter.
That's Miguel
I guess.
de Acaza's project. It was originally an open source project to do .NET in for everything else, and eventually Microsoft acquired it. And Miguel's been, I think,
and that's why
that
was Visual Studio on the Mac. What used to be Xamarin Studio on the Mac.
Oh, I see. So it isn't really the same code base as Visual Studio.
It's not.
Oh,
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
Or what it hasn't, not to date. So the next version, I'm curious at least to see what that looks like. But
great question.
I bet it's
if you want to ask a question, just step up to the microphone. I wish we had one, and say your name though, so that we know who it is and where you're calling from. Anybody?
This is Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Mike. Where are you calling from?
Hello. Alakazip is. I got to change that. We're all learning this at the same time, I think.
Yeah. Alakazip is your handle.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Whatever. That's what I put in there.
No, I don't. You could say this is Alakazip calling from Kalamazoo. That would be okay. I don't mind.
There you go.
It'd be so much better if you didn't do that.
I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Nice.
Nice.
The question I had is, I was a window administrator for the first decade of my career, and then went all Apple for the next decade. And the one thing that brought me back to Windows was Flight Simulator, right? Like that is the thing. I remember my dad having this crazy old tiny laptop with the first Flight Simulator. It was my first game. So for Flight Simulator, I went and bought a whole hog, PC. Actually got a GPU. I'm not sure by luck. And so I was wondering, an Xbox question, if those are allowed. Do we see Flight Simulator either come into an Xbox platform or a streaming platform that I can use on my M1 Mac Mini?
It is coming to the consoles. I'm not sure. I don't believe they've ever addressed game streaming, but it is coming to Xbox this year. Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you.
Take care. Who else wants to? Unless you want to cut this off, Paul. Anytime you want to cut this off, just do the slashing thing at your throat. Like
get a little uncomfortable.
In deference to Mary Jo, let's have a question about Hadoop. Anybody?
Oh God.
Or beer.
Anybody want to ask a beer question? That would be okay too. It's okay. It's a little funky, but it's a little down home. But I like I love the back and forth. I just feels to me like how
this was always. I hate speaking publicly.
Yeah.
But the part I always really enjoyed was the Q&A stuff.
Yeah.
Just the off the cuff.
Yeah. Me too. Speak up if you have do you have a beer question for Mary Jo? Anybody?
Well, I guess it's not quite a beer question, although I've had Microsoft beer at a convention. I'm not sure if I can speak to that.
Was it derivative of the apple beer, would you say?
I don't know how to answer that question. What I did want to ask about is that now that we see Microsoft is releasing for other platforms, and especially for Microsoft Studios releasing Xbox games onto things like Steam, there have been rumors of Xbox Game Pass coming to Steam. Are we going to just start seeing this grand collaboration where it doesn't matter what platform you're on, you can still buy Microsoft stuff?
I mean, that's the dream in both directions. I don't know. Bringing it to Steam makes so much sense. I think the big breakthrough there would be if they could bring Game Pass to Sony, right to the console. I think that would be incredible. I don't necessarily see that, but I mean, I think that would be kind of it, or at least game streaming, I should say. But
there is that Microsoft Sony partnership, right? So maybe that isn't.
Yeah, but I just mentioned MLB, the game 21 or whatever. That's weird game because it's so rare and unusual. Yeah. But I think we're going to see individual little pushes here and there, and obviously some of the bigger games like Minecraft, et cetera, are obviously multi-platform already. But I don't. I always want this kind of perfect cross-platform compatibility with everything, but that's just not in the best interest for them competitively. So I don't know. I think we're going to continue to see a subset of stuff on Steam and elsewhere, and it's just a question of how that breaks down.
Thank you, Rocco. That was a good question. Hedge 36 is asking if they're allowed to do song dedications. Yes, you can.
Song dedications. Awesome. In the midnight hour.
We can figure out how to do video, Alec, as if he said we got to figure out how to do video.
I expect this to be a lot more sophisticated next week. I
mean, this is
maybe like an AR room we could all be standing
I'd love
together.
To do that. We actually did that on Tech TV in the early days of Tech TV. We had avatar chat. It was wild.
Yeah.
Robert Haas wants you to know, Mary Jo Foley, Microsoft just released a new ISO for 21H1 today to Windows Insiders. It's 19043.928.
Yeah. I think they've been doing that a lot, haven't they?
Yeah, that's at least the second ISO for 21H1.
Yeah.
So we're getting there.
Yeah.
Minor upgrade, though, right? Not going to be a big one.
Very minor.
Yeah.
Very minor.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Speak up.
Not right now. I have to actually
Did you join Club TWiT?
Yeah. We're hearing your conversation, you two. Did your wife just learn that you joined Club TWiT? He muted immediately.
What are you paying for?
I see this on your credit card statement.
Right. I just got an alert on my credit card.
Speak up if you've got push to talk turned on. Make sure you push that space bar, but speak up if you have any questions. This actually reminds me a lot of the live events you guys did in Amsterdam and other places where you get some shy nerds and somebody eventually sidles up to the microphone and says hello.
Yeah.
And
then there's somebody who's
Paul,
always
why are
at
you
the
in the back
microphone
pocket?
who can't go away.
Right.
If I don't,
Speaking of hogging the microphone and can't going away.
Is this Rocode again? Hey, welcome back, Rocode. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
No, not at all.
So with this new WSL G. Do you think we're ever going to see the introduction of one-click install of various platform apps, like just clicking and installing Audacity for Linux and not having to go through
you get like a package manager.
How do you do it? How do you do it now? I didn't watch the video. Do you have to do it from the command line and then it's there?
It's command line based. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could implement a package manager. Frankly, if you're using, say,
have
Ubuntu,
that be the first thing you run.
Well, you have a package manager. You have apps. I guess you could sudo apt install Audacity, still a command line. And I guess then, I don't know. I've not tried it. Is it as simple as that? Does it then show up in the start menu?
I bet it is, yeah. So, I haven't looked at it's just happened. But, I mean, I'll look at that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Good. Rocode, you're always welcome for the follow-up. Thank you. Mm-hmm. One of the nice things about doing this with a paid audience is even if we're just $1, there's a certain amount of trust involved, Oh yeah. And I want to just tell you, there are no refunds. So just consider.
If you want to pay $7 and complain that
you
I
could
talk
do that.
too much about
I'll take
Xbox,
your $7.
Go to town. It's fine.
Yeah. Who else? Speak up.
So Leo, this is Alec Zip again. It's an open channel. So I've listened to this whole thing. I've listened for 10 years. I think the people who are on your show are some of the most ethical folks I've seen anywhere in media. So like you talked,
and even Jeff Jarvis, because I mean he is now known to be in the back pocket of something.
But he always discloses, right?
I want to be an outside voice of sanity.
Thank you.
You constantly talk about ethics, and it's an amazing thing, and I think you should be well regarded for that. So ignore the trolls and keep doing what you're doing.
Well, Jeff has already told me he does not want to talk about this on Twig. I thought he was going to be
at
ballistic.
the advice of his lawyer.
Yeah, probably on the advice of his lawyers. So we'll talk. It's funny. I said, well, too late. We already talked about it on Windows Weekly. So good. Hey, thank you, Alec.
An incredible attack.
Whose back pocket are you in, Alec Zip? That's what I want to know.
Exactly.
You'll never know who my corporate overlords are. We all have some. Right?
Patrick Norton once told me that because I said I want to start my own podcast network because I'm tired of working for the man, and he said, Leo, there's always a man.
Yeah,
there's always a man.
There it is.
Anybody else have any questions? Already, somebody, Hedge36 in the chat room, said, I would pay a couple of bucks more for visibility to Mary Jo's cat. But Sriracha, you said, is banished from today's show.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's
Who's
been
this?
A bad boy the past.
This is KingWing27 from Canada.
Hey, KingWing27 from Canada. Go right ahead.
My question is for Paul, and the question is, are you ever going to write an Xbox book?
Oh, that's a great question.
You mean like a history book or a...
Well, anything.
Like just anything.
Yeah.
Field guide to the Xbox.
I mean, I've thought about it. I don't. There are some topics that I feel are kind of small that could be short books, like Microsoft account or Xbox was one. I was thinking like a Microsoft Edge book might make sense, But if you mean more of like a history type book, I mean, there have been really good books written about the history of Xbox from some insiders as well. None of which I can think of the name of, but there have been several, industry books about the history.
There have been some really good books about gaming. What was the book about the Doom?
The
Doom. The id guys. That was such a good book. Dean Takahashi writes about this stuff. Yeah.
No, but the book you're talking about, that's the one that's I have this on Audible because it's Will Wheaton that reads it.
Yes. It's the history of id.
It's history of id. That's one of the best of those books for sure. Yeah.
And off the top of my head, I don't remember, but if anybody does,
I know it's stupid.
Chirp in. Yeah, I own it as well on Audible.
Masters of Doom.
Masters of Doom. That was it. Highly recommended. But that's a history book. But boy, fascinating.
That's excellent. Yeah, it's really good. Really good story.
I think it probably would help if you knew Doom.
Yeah.
Or were around when that came out because it's, it doesn't resonate for people who are too young to remember when Doom came out.
It's impossible to overstate how much John Carmack changed game development.
That's exactly right.
His contributions over the course of, I would say, 3 or 4 generations of games, it's just,
And by the way, that was the first freemium game. They gave out the first 3 levels for free.
Literally sent them a check in the mail to Mesquite, Texas.
Yeah.
And they sent back floppy disks in the mail.
That's right. That's
and
right.
That's how I
the
got
rest of
the
the
full
levels.
version of the first game, Doom game.
I want to correct myself though, because before that came out with Commander Keen, and that was also free.
Yeah, but that was distributed through Apogee. So when they, I think Apogee, right? When they Doom was it? I think it was just them. I think it was like a.
It was a shareware, basically shareware, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. It was shareware. Yep.
Yeah.
Shareware, and that's what Apogee did too, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think for Doom, I think they just distributed it themselves.
It was just them.
Sure they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for participating. It's been kind of fun. We'll figure out a better way to do this. We can do. There is a Clubhouse-like feature of Discord. They call it Stage.
I can't wait to do like a video grid.
We could do that if everybody wants to turn on their video. We could see all these people.
So that's where we're heading.
I almost turned on my video this morning in one of these, but I realized I was a little disheveled. I had just gotten up. I was sitting in front of my cup of coffee. It would have been a very different experience than the normal.
It's like the Baywatch Nights of TWiT.
What do you want? It's 8 a.m. and I don't feel very good.
Little hair of the dog, and we'll start the day.